The sun had not moved in days, or maybe time just felt slower now. Inside the broken alien ship, the smell of metal, sweat, and fear filled the air. The alien crew was silent. No one spoke. No one had the energy. Their bodies were weak, their minds even weaker. It had been 4 days without real food. Their emergency rations had run out. Every plant on this planet was poison to them, except not to the human. Mark Lorien was the only human on the ship, a soldier, a quiet man. The aliens had mocked him when they first arrived on the planet, called him soft skin. Now they looked at him with sunken eyes filled with hunger. Something darker. Mark had left the ship that morning, just like always. He carried his small pack and a handmade spear. He didn't say a word. He didn't need to. Captain Rellan watched him go from the shadows. The alien's bones ached, his scales had dulled, his hands trembled, his mind screamed for food, but all he could think about was Mark. Eating. Every day. Mark returned with strange roots, glowing fruits, or long twisted leaves. He always cooked them on a fire outside the ship. The smoke carried a scent that made the aliens' mouths water, even as their stomachs turned in pain. They knew that food was poison to them. It had killed 2 of their kind on the first day, but Mark, he looked stronger each time. Now something inside Captain Rellan broke. "This is not survival," he growled. "To the others, this is torture. He has food, and we have nothing." Officer Euron tried to speak. "The human is different. That food would kill us." Rellan's eyes narrowed. "Then we kill him and take what he knows." Silence fell. No one agreed. Number 1 disagreed. Mark was walking near the edge of the jungle when he felt something strange. The trees were quiet. No birds, no sounds, just wind. He knelt and touched the ground. Tracks. Heavy ones, fresh. He didn't smile, but inside he felt that their hunger had become dangerous. He walked further into the woods. His pace was calm, his steps soft. He had been a survival scout. During Earth's war on Titan V, he had seen what starvation did to people, and he had learned what to do when men stopped thinking and started hunting. He walked until he reached a shallow valley. There he set up a small trap, something simple. A hidden pit, some noise-making sticks, and a little piece of roasted root to lure them in. Then he waited. Back at the ship, Captain Rellan ordered the others to follow him. Euron, Keth, and 2 more aliens moved silently into the jungle. Their bodies were slow, but their eyes were wild. "We find him, we scare him, we take what he hides," Rellan said. But the jungle was not theirs. Euron stepped on something that snapped. A loud crack rang out, then wham, he disappeared into the ground. The others ran forward and saw the pit. It wasn't deep, but Euron was hurt. A spear had scratched his side. "He knew," Keth whispered. "He set this for us," Rellan growled. "Help him out." "We keep going." They searched for hours, but Mark was gone. That night, back at the ship, Mark returned. He didn't go inside. He lit a fire just outside the broken hull. He roasted a thick green stalk and placed it near the flames. Then, he placed something beside it, Euron's armband. The aliens watched from inside. Their hearts pounded. Then Mark spoke loud and calm. "I know what you're thinking," he said. "I saw the trap marks. I saw your eyes. But I'm not your enemy." He paused. "You want food. I understand. But this planet was not made for you. It was made for someone like me. You keep pushing, and you'll die before I do." He stood and pointed to the trees. "I can disappear in there forever, or I can help you survive. You choose." Then he walked into the darkness. Inside the ship, the aliens sat in silence. Rellan slammed his fist on the wall. "He threatens us." Keth shook his head. "He warned us. He could have killed Euron. He didn't." Euron groaned from his bunk. He was in pain, but alive. "We tried to take from him," Euron whispered, "but he gave us a chance." The crew looked at each other, tired, starving, angry, but deep inside, ashamed. Mark sat under the stars, sharpening his spear. He had seen this before. Hunger turned men into monsters, but this planet, it gave him strength. Its food made him faster, clearer, tougher, and every night he felt less human and more something else. He looked at the glowing roots beside him. Wasn't just surviving now. He was evolving, and if the aliens pushed again, they wouldn't like what he became. The sky turned a deep orange as Mark Lorien stepped into the valley again. His boots pressed into soft alien moss, and every breath smelled like ash and fruit. He moved slowly, watching, listening. The trees here had a strange glow. Their leaves shimmered like glass. Their branches curved like claws. But Mark had come here for one reason. He had seen something move last night, something red, pulsing like a heartbeat. He crept under the twisted roots and found it. a fruit hanging low, round and shining like blood. It steamed slightly in the air. One touch could burn skin. He didn't touch it with bare hands. Instead, he used a flat stone to cut it loose. It dropped into his bag with a soft hiss. Back at the fire, Mark studied the fruit. Its skin was thick, and the heat it gave off was strange, like it had its own fire inside. He built a low fire, laid the fruit on a metal plate, and watched as it roasted. The skin blackened and cracked. A spicy smell filled the air, thick and wild. The moment he bit into it, he felt it heat racing through his body, not painful, but powerful. His heartbeat quickened. His hands stopped shaking. His mind felt clear. Whatever this fruit was, it didn't just feed him, it changed him. Inside the alien ship, the mood was worse than ever. Captain Rellan sat in silence, staring at the wall. Euron was still recovering. Keth had stopped talking completely. The others avoided each other, and every night, the scent of roasted food drifted through the broken vents like a curse. He eats again, Keth whispered, eyes sunken and wide. He taunts us, Rellan muttered. But he knew it wasn't true. The human had given them a choice. They chose hunger. Two aliens sneaked out after nightfall. Their names were Ren and Firo, young, desperate, and tired of starving. They followed the smoke and crouched behind thick ferns, watching Mark roast the red fruit again. Ren whispered, "We wait for him to sleep, then we take the food." But before they could move, Mark spoke without looking up. "If you touch it, raw, it'll melt your skin." The aliens froze. How had he known? Mark pointed to a melted hole in the rock nearby. "That was my first test. I dropped the fruit on it. It burned straight through." Ren stepped forward slowly. "How do you eat it then? Cook it right, cut it slow, and have a stomach made for war," Mark replied. He stood and picked up a long knife, glowing from heat. "You want to try it?" he asked. Ren hesitated. Mark tossed a piece of the cooked fruit to him. Ren bit in. At first nothing, then his face twisted. He dropped to his knees, choking. Firo rushed to help, but it was too late. Ren's throat had swelled, and black foam leaked from his mouth. Mark looked away. "I warned him." Firo stared in horror. "Why can you eat it?" Mark stared into the fire. "Maybe because Earth made me for worse things than this." Later that night, Mark sat alone, staring at the stars. His skin itched, his eyes burned, but his strength was growing. He could feel it. He wasn't just surviving now. He was changing. The fruit had done something. His muscles reacted faster, his senses sharpened. He could hear insects in the trees from a mile away. He could smell water underground. His scars were healing faster than ever before. He touched his arm. A cut from yesterday was already gone. Whatever was inside that fruit, it was building him into something new. The aliens buried Ren quietly near the ship. No one said anything. They didn't ask Mark what happened. They didn't have the strength to fight anymore, but Captain Rellan had one thought repeating in his head. The human grows stronger. We grow weaker. He couldn't let this continue. Even if it kills some of us. Even if it burns. If it makes the human strong, it can save us too. Euron shook his head. "It only works for him. You saw what happened." Rellan stood tall, trembling but fierce. "We die anyway if we wait. I will eat it. I will survive." That evening, Rellan found the same red fruit tree in the valley. Mark was already there. Rellan hissed, "Move aside, human." Mark didn't move. "It'll kill you. I'd rather die trying than rot in that ship." Mark looked at him for a long time. Then he said, "You want the truth? This fruit doesn't just feed me, it rebuilds me." Rellan narrowed his eyes. "What do you mean?" Mark took a deep breath. "Every bite changes me, my bones, my nerves. I don't feel hunger anymore. I don't feel pain the same way. I feel more." Raylan raised his claws. "Then you are becoming something else." Mark nodded. "Maybe that's what this planet wants." Then he stepped aside. Rellan picked a fruit and held it in his shaking hand. "You cook it like this," Mark said, showing him carefully. "But don't eat more than one piece, or it will melt your heart from the inside." Rellan roasted the fruit, sliced it carefully, and ate a tiny bit. His body shook. He dropped to the ground, convulsing, but then stopped. After a long moment he opened his eyes. He was breathing. Barely, but he was alive. Mark sat down beside him now. "You understand," he said. "This planet doesn't feed us, it tests us, and if we pass, we change." Rellan looked at the trees around them and whispered, "Then maybe we don't belong here." Mark stared into the night. "I do." The wind carried dust through the ruins as Mark Lorien walked past glowing vines and broken stone. He held a half-eaten red fruit in one hand and a homemade spear in the other. His muscles felt tighter. His skin had hardened slightly. He didn't know what this fruit was doing to him exactly, But it wasn't just healing him anymore, it was making him different. The aliens had noticed too. They watched from behind trees and cracks in the ship's walls. They didn't speak to him now, not like before. Something had changed in their eyes, that it was no longer fear, it was jealousy. Back in the alien ship, Captain Relin leaned against a wall, breathing harder than usual. The small taste of the red fruit had done something strange to his body. He was alive but not stable. He saw flashes of light. His heart beat too fast. His skin changed color under his armor. He had survived what should have killed him, but the others, they wanted more. Officer Keth whispered, "If one bite didn't kill you, maybe 2 bites will cure you." Roland coughed, "Or maybe it will melt me from the inside." Still, the hunger in their eyes was stronger than reason. Yoran stepped forward. "The human eats freely. His strength grows. We are dying here. We can't watch anymore," Keth added. "We don't have to ask. We take it." Roland didn't stop them this time. He just watched, and said nothing. Mark returned to the fire pit near the ruins and set down his pack. He had discovered a few more glowing plants and strange roots. During his morning walk, none were as powerful as the red fruit, but some could be eaten safely. He boiled a thick green root in clean water and looked at the flickering symbols carved into a broken wall nearby. They looked human. Old Earth writing. His hands touched the letters. Eden Project, Unit 4. Beneath it was something more strange. Warning. Evolution process active. Non-Earth species must not ingest. Mark's eyes narrowed. This planet wasn't random. It had been built, designed, planted. His food wasn't alien. It was Earth-grown, changed to survive in space, in harsh worlds, in war zones. Suddenly, he heard a sound behind him. He turned fast. Ready. 3 aliens stepped into the light. Keth Uran, and a younger one named Vo. Their eyes were dark. Their hands shook. Keth spoke first. "We want what you have." Mark didn't lower his spear. "I warned you. It's not safe." Euron stepped closer. "Then make it safe. Cook it for us. Prepare it like you do. Give us what keeps you alive." Mark's voice was calm, but hard. "What keeps me alive might kill you. This food isn't for your kind." Vol hissed. "You think we're not good enough?" Mark shook his head. "I think this planet was made for humans." Silence. Then Keth lunged. Mark didn't flinch. He moved fast, dodging to the side, spinning low and pushing Keth to the ground with the butt of his spear. The other 2 backed away. Keth growled, bleeding from his lip. "You're just a soldier, not a god." Mark stood tall. "No, a survivor, and that's more dangerous." Later, Keth lay in the ship's medbed with a cracked jaw. Relan looked down at him. "You attacked the human?" he asked. Keth spat blood. "He's becoming something else. If we don't stop him now, we won't be able to later." Relan nodded slowly. "You may be right." He walked to the ship's window and looked out at the jungle, where the fire still burned and the human moved like he owned the land. Then he whispered, "But you also may be too late." Mark sat in front of the fire again. He took a new fruit from his bag. This one wasn't red, it was black with gold streaks. He had found it near a sealed door deep in the ruins. It pulsed softly in his hand, cold instead of hot. It felt alive. He didn't eat it, not yet. Instead, he placed it on the firestone, letting it warm. Then he activated his comms unit for the first time in days. A static voice crackled. "Emergency channel, say your name." Mark pressed the button and spoke. "This is Private Mark Lorien, survivor of the crash. I'm on a planet with active Eden tech. Repeat, in tech is real." The voice replied. "Location unknown. Say again." Mark stared into the fire and said, "I've found something here, something made for us, something that changes us." He paused. "I don't know what I'm becoming, but I think Earth needs to see this." Far behind him, deep inside the jungle, something moved. Something big. Mark stood slowly. The ruins weren't empty anymore, and if this planet had once belonged to Earth, then someone else might be coming back to claim it. Mark Lorien walked slowly through the old stone corridor. The door he had found yesterday was now open. He didn't know how it unlocked. Maybe the planet recognized his DNA. Maybe the fruit had changed him enough to be accepted. But one thing was clear now: this place was never alien. It was human. Lights flickered on along the walls. Soft blue symbols glowed. He stepped into a wide room filled with vines, roots, and giant sealed containers. Some were broken, some still hummed. Inside them were seeds, data cores, and broken drones marked with the Earth flag. United Earth Terraforming Command Eden Unit. For Mark's heart beat faster. This wasn't a random planet, it was a garden planted by Earth. Long ago, outside, the alien ship was falling apart. Power was almost gone. The crew barely moved. Captain Rellan lay, weak eyes closed, barely breathing. The fruit had kept him alive, but it burned his organs slowly. The planet had rejected them. Vol stood at the edge of the ship's open ramp, staring into the jungle. He's not human anymore, he whispered. Euron didn't respond. They had tried to take his food, tried to fight, now they just waited. Inside the ruins, Mark explored further. He found a control room, broken but still glowing faintly. One screen blinked with red text. Eden sequence interrupted, awaiting human command. He placed his hand on the console. The screen changed. Welcome, authorized user. Mark Lorien. A log opened. Video recordings played. Scientists from Earth, tired, proud, desperate, speaking into cameras. We built this garden to test survival. Environments for future colonies. The fruit, roots, and trees are designed to evolve human biology. It's risky. Some may change, some may die, but Earth must grow. Another log appeared. The last message. If you are watching this, Eden still lives. Earth may be gone, or changed, but this place remains, waiting for a human strong enough to claim it. Mark stepped back. The planet wasn't just feeding him, it was choosing him. He walked back out into the golden sun, carrying a small pack filled with data cores, seeds, and one glowing black fruit. His skin looked tougher, his eyes glowed faintly, his body no longer ached. He didn't feel tired, or cold, or even afraid. He didn't walk like a soldier anymore. He walked like someone who had survived something bigger than war, someone who belonged at the edge of the alien ship. Volume spotted him returning. His eyes widened. Captain, he's coming. Euron looked too. Even from a distance, they could feel it. Mark was no longer just a man, he was part of this place. The aliens stepped back as Mark approached the ramp. He didn't raise a weapon, he didn't speak first, they did. Volume dropped to one knee. You are the owner of this land. Euron lowered his head. We were wrong. Mark looked at them, quiet for a long moment, then he said, You weren't wrong to be afraid. This planet is dangerous. It gives power, but at a price. Euron whispered. What price did you pay? Mark looked up at the sky. I'm not sure I'm fully human anymore. He handed them a single seed. Take this. It may grow something safe on your world, but never return here. Volume asked, What will you do now? Mark turned toward the jungle, toward the ruins, toward the new Eden. I will stay alone if I must. But this place needs a guardian. Someone who understands both Earth and what Earth must become. He walked into the jungle without looking. Back. The plants shifted. The vines moved. The trees made space for him. He didn't fight them. He belonged. Later that day, the alien ship lifted into the sky. Weak engines burned hot as it rose above the trees. Inside, Euron recorded the final report. Mission failed. Planet hostile to our kind. But one human survived. He adapted. The land changed him. Or maybe he awakened it. He paused, then added, Recommend full blockade. No other species should enter. This is no longer a wild world. This is a human world. Below, in the ruins, Mark stood in front of a new tree, one that had grown overnight. Its leaves glowed blue. Its fruit shimmered like crystal. He reached up and picked it. The tree seemed to lean closer to him as he took a bite. A voice echoed in his mind. Welcome, caretaker. Now he was more than a survivor, more than a man. He was the last seed of Earth planted on alien soil. And he had become its garden's keeper. Alone, but never hungry again. The heat was different in this part of the jungle. The air was thick. The wind had a sharp, spicy smell. Mark Lorien moved carefully, stepping over twisted roots and glowing moss. He had been searching for new food sources since morning. His body was stronger now, his reflexes quicker. The red fruit he had discovered 2 days ago had done something to him and he needed more. He found the same tree again. It stood taller than the others, its bark smooth and black, its branches sharp and curved. Hanging from it were more red fruits, pulsing slightly as if they were alive. Steam came off their skin. Mark didn't touch them with his hands. He used a flat stone to knock one down. It landed with a hiss and a small spark. He wrapped it in thick leaves and returned to camp. Back at the ruins, Mark lit a fire and placed the fruit on a metal plate. As it cooked, the skin turned dark, cracked, and released a sharp, peppery scent into the air. He waited until it cooled, then carefully cut a piece and chewed slowly. The effect hit within seconds. His heart beat faster. His vision sharpened. His muscles tensed and relaxed with power. A burst of energy ran through his body, but it wasn't painful. It was clean, controlled, like the fruit was charging him from the inside. Whatever this was, it wasn't just food. It was something more. He looked at his arm. A cut from yesterday was gone. The fruit was healing him, and maybe changing him. Inside the alien ship, the mood was breaking down. No food, no strength, just whispers and anger. Keth sat with Volume and Euron talking in low voices. He eats every day now, Volume said, voice dry. And he looks stronger, Euron added. His skin, his walk, his changing. He hides the fruit, Keth growled, the one that gives him power. They looked to Captain Rellan, who lay on a metal bench, barely able to speak. Keth stood. We'll get the fruit ourselves. That night, to alien Sketh and Volume followed Mark into the jungle. They moved quietly, hiding in the dark, watching from the trees. Mark had found 2 more fruits and was roasting one when he spoke without turning around. If you touch it raw, he said, your skin will melt. The aliens froze. He stood slowly and pointed to a spot nearby. That's where I tested it. Burned a hole in the stone. Vol stepped forward. Then cook it for us. Show us how. Mark looked at them. This food was made for humans. It kills anything else. You want to risk that? Keth didn't answer. He just reached for the roasted fruit. Mark didn't stop. Keth took a bite and dropped to the ground within seconds. His throat swelled, his body shook. Foam poured from his mouth. Mark grabbed him and forced a green leaf juice into his mouth. After minutes of struggle, Keth lay still alive, but barely. Vol stared in fear. Mark wiped his hands. I warned you. The next morning, the aliens buried Keth outside the ship. He was still alive, but weak. His body burned inside, his veins glowing faintly under his skin. The fruit hadn't killed him, but it had nearly destroyed him. Captain Rellan watched from his bed. He ate the fruit. He asked Euron. Yes, cooked. The human helped him. Barely saved him. Rellan sat up slowly. It didn't kill him. No, but he'll never be the same. Rellan's eyes narrowed. Then maybe we can survive. Mark sat alone that evening, roasting a new fruit. This one was slightly different, darker, heavier. He stared at it for a long time. The last few days had changed him. The food wasn't just giving strength, it was rebuilding something inside him. He slept less. He healed. Fast. His thoughts were clearer, sharper. He stood up and walked to the edge of the camp, where old stone pillars stood half buried in the soil. Strange symbols glowed faintly in the moss. He cleaned one and read it. Seed of Earth, made for the chosen. His eyes narrowed. This fruit wasn't alien, that it was human-made or Earth-grown. Maybe this planet had once been prepared by Earth. Maybe it had been lost or forgotten. Maybe Eden wasn't just a name, it was a test, and he was passing it later. Captain Rellan met him at the ruins. You are changing, Rellan said. This food, it rebuilds you. Mark nodded. And breaks you. Rellan said nothing for a while, then asked, can you help us survive? Mark looked up at the stars. I can, but not all of you will live. This planet accepts me. I don't know if it will accept you. Rellan reached into a pouch and held up a broken data chip. This fruit is marked with your Earth code. You were meant to be here. Mark took the chip and stared at it. Then maybe Earth wanted to plant humans in alien soil. He handed Rellan a small cooked piece of the fruit. Eat slowly. If you're strong, it will change you. That night, Rellan chewed carefully. His body burned, his skin cracked, but he didn't die, and Mark sat beside him, feeding the fire with dry alien wood, watching the transformation begin. They were no longer just survivors now. They were becoming something new, something stronger. Mark Lorien stood near the edge of the ruined forest wall, sharpening his spear with a stone. His hands moved without thought, steady and fast. His eyes were sharper than ever. The jungle no longer felt hostile. The sounds didn't frighten him. His body had grown used to the heat, the smells, the taste of alien fruits. But something deeper had changed. He was stronger, faster. He had stopped needing full sleep. His cuts healed in hours, and each time he ate the red fruit, his heart pounded like thunder, but left him feeling calm afterward, calm and clear, like he was seeing the world differently. The fruit had changed him, and the aliens knew it. In the broken ship, whispers filled the dark metal walls. He walks like a hunter now, Euron said quietly. He eats what kills us, Volume added, and it makes him powerful. Captain Rellan sat silent in the shadows. His skin was still damaged from his small dose of the red fruit. His body was trying to adapt, but it was slow, painful. We were explorers, he muttered. Now we're watching him become something more. Keth, who had nearly died from eating the fruit raw, coughed and said, he won't share it. Not really, just tiny bites, just warnings. But he eats freely, grows stronger every day. Euron stood up. Then we take what he hides. Mark returned to the stone ruin after sunset. The broken wall he'd discovered before had symbols carved deep into the surface. Now he could read some of them. The fruit he was eating wasn't alien at all. It was grown from Earth. DNA, someone from Earth had come to this planet long before. They had planted life here, built structures, then left or died. He found another sealed hatch behind the vines. When he touched it, the stone clicked open. Inside was a small bunker, covered in moss, but still active. Lights glowed faintly. On the walls, in the center of the bunker, a control pad blinked red. Terraforming cycle, interrupted, awaiting human command. His hand fit perfectly on the pad. The screen turned green, double quotes. Welcome, Eden operator. Mark stood back slowly. This was made for us. The next morning, 3 aliens approached his fire, Keth Vole, and a young scout, named Sarai. They stood just outside the camp, not drawing weapons, not speaking at first. Mark saw them and didn't move. You're not here to talk, he said. Keth stepped forward. We want the fruit. All of it. You eat and grow stronger, we starve. Mark looked down at the glowing red fruit roasting on a flat stone. Its steam made the air shimmer. I warned you, it's poison to your kind, Sarai said. Then make it safe. Cook it like you do. Train us. Share your secret. Mark stood slowly. You don't understand. This isn't my secret. It's my inheritance. Vole tilted his head. What do you mean? Mark pointed to the jungle, the ruins, the strange plants all around. This planet was planted by Earth. It was designed to test, to push, to change people like me. I didn't find this food by luck. I was meant to survive here. He picked up the fruit and took a bite. His eyes glowed faintly as he swallowed. Sarai stepped forward. You're not just a man anymore. Mark nodded. No, I'm something more now. Later, the 3 aliens argued inside the ship. You saw his eyes, Sarai said. He's becoming something else. He's not even afraid of us, Keth added. He walks alone, sleeps under the sky. We huddle in shadows like animals. Roland opened his eyes slowly. He's what this planet wants, he whispered. It doesn't kill him because he belongs. Euron asked. Then what do we do? Roland looked toward the jungle, voice weak but firm. We leave, while we still can. That night, Mark walked deeper into the ruins. He entered the bunker again and opened a second door that had unlocked since his last visit. Inside was a glowing orb, pulsing like a heart. A message appeared above it. DNA sync, 98% human evolution in progress. He stared at it. Was this fruit just the beginning? Was Earth trying to create something new, stronger humans for hostile? Planet C stepped back. The ground felt different beneath his feet. The planet was responding to him. That next day, the aliens began repairing the ship. Quietly, slowly. Mark watched from a distance. He didn't interfere. He left them a bag of dried plant roots near the ship's edge. They were safe to eat. Nothing like the red fruit, but enough to keep them alive. Vol picked up the bag, looked toward the jungle, and whispered, Why is he helping us now? Euron replied, Because he doesn't see us as a threat anymore. Inside the bunker, Mark touched the console again. A new line appeared. New Terra Guardian status. Active. Mark stood alone in the light. He was no longer just surviving. He had been chosen. The trees were quiet. Mark Lorien stood under a glowing sky, the stars above brighter than ever before. He had left the alien ship behind. The jungle had swallowed the noise, the old metal, the arguments, and the hunger. Now he walked alone, but he didn't feel alone anymore. The land accepted him. The ground beneath his feet seemed to know him. The roots didn't try to trip him. The creatures didn't hide. Some even watched him with wide, curious eyes. The jungle had stopped seeing him as a visitor down now. It treated him like its own dot. In the heart of the ruins, Mark reached the oldest part. A massive stone door stood half buried in moss and dust. Symbols glowed faintly. He placed his hand on the center panel. The door opened. Inside was a wide chamber, smooth walls, glowing vines, and rows of strange machines still humming with weak power. The floor was lined with plants growing in perfect rows. Trees from Earth, but changed. Stronger, wilder. Some fruits glowed, others pulsed with warmth. One tree bore black fruit with gold lines running through the skin. It was beautiful. A message flashed on the wall above the plants. Eden Core online. Mark stepped forward. Another message appeared. One human detected. Begin final sync. He pressed the button. The room came alive. Meanwhile, the alien ship had lifted off. Captain Reland sat weak in the command seat. Euron and the others had stored the humans' plant samples carefully. Mark had shared them without a fight, but he had given a warning. This planet is no longer yours. It belongs to someone now. Volume had asked, to who? And Mark had said just one word. Me. In the chamber, the machines around Mark blinked. Lights moved across his skin. A warm pulse traveled through his bones. It didn't hurt. It felt like waking up. A voice calm and soft filled the room. "Welcome, Eden Keeper." Mark didn't speak. He closed his eyes. Images filled his mind. Earth soldiers planting this place, programming plants to adapt, building this hidden vault, waiting for someone strong enough to reach it. One man had done it, Mark Lorian. The next morning, he stood outside the ruins, holding a new fruit. It was cold and heavy, black with golden veins. It didn't burn like the red ones. It didn't shake like the others. It felt complete. He took a bite. The change was instant. His skin shimmered faintly. His heartbeat slowed, deepened. His thoughts sharpened like a blade. He felt more alive than ever, but something was different. He no longer felt hunger, or fear, or even time. He felt planted, like a tree with roots growing deep into the land. Weeks passed. The jungle changed. The plants near his fire grew faster. The fruit trees spread. The moss climbed higher. The air became thicker, warmer, alive with energy. The planet was reacting to him. One night, he climbed to the top of a cliff near the ruins. The valley below was full of light fruit trees, glowing, rivers sparkling, strange birds flying in the mist. He had changed it, nor he had awakened it. This was no longer a test site, it was a living Eden, and he was its guardian. Far away in deep space, the alien ship sent one final message: do not return. The human is not the same. He has claimed the garden, and the garden has claimed him. Back on the planet, Mark stood near the giant tree that had grown in the center of the ruins. Its branches stretched toward the stars. Its roots ran deep beneath the soil. Its fruit hung silently, waiting. He touched the trunk. It pulsed with energy. A voice returned in his mind. "Welcome back, Garden of One." He smiled for the first time in days. Not because he had one, but because he had become something no alien, no machine, no world could stop. He was not just a man anymore. He was the final result of Earth's last experiment, a man grown from hardship, fed by danger, rooted in survival. And now, he was the future.